I'm Jacinta Coonahan and you're watching Coast Community News 5 at 5, October 23rd. And it has been another turbulent week for our council. Let's go to David, who will shed some light on the situation.
Thanks, JC. Well, the proverbial has hit the fan this week for Central Coast Council after it declared earlier that it didn't have the cash to pay its own staff. Local Government Minister Shelley Hancock formally announced on Wednesday she intends to dismiss councillors and appoint an interim administrator. Council now has 5 days left to lodge a submission with the Office of Local Government on why it should not be sacked and an administrator appointed. We reached out to all councillors for comment. Councillors Holstein and McLaughlin, MPs Crouch and Harris have made these following comments.
This is not, I don't believe this will be for 3 months, and I believe we could end up with in excess of 1 to 2 years of without community representation. Now, 15 councillors take calls every day of the week, take emails every hour of the day, and endeavour, some better than others, to answer all those questions and concerns of the community. Without that, how will the community have representation? How will the community be able to seek answers, to seek assistance, to seek help from their council? It will be as severely restricted. That's not fair, that's not reasonable, and I await the Minister's decision.
I think it's justified, to be honest with you. I'm quite welcoming the investigation. In fact, myself and Councillor Best, Pillen and Marquette actually went to the Office of Local Government some weeks ago and put in a formal complaint and asked for investigation and asked for a financial controller to be put in. We just lost confidence in the administration, and it was obviously there was things going wrong. You just can't have a budget deficit of $41 million and then come in and say it's now $89 million, and so for weeks now we've asked for this, and quite frankly, I think the councillors are defending the indefensible.
So we met with the GM via a phone conference when all of this first broke. But it's spiralled downhill since then. And on Tuesday, we met with the Minister and the Parliamentary Secretary and all the Labor members on the Central Coast, where we went through all of the issues. And we were very upset to hear that Council was in a position where they may not be able to pay staff, so 2,100 plus staff. And so in cooperation with the Minister, we agreed that there needed to be an intervention.
I obviously welcome the Minister's decision to write to Council to put them on notice. Obviously, they have, I think, about 5 days left to confirm to the Minister why they shouldn't be suspended and an administrator appointed. And but quite frankly, David, what we've seen play out over the last few days, as the Minister summed it up, it's reprehensible. To write to the Minister 24 hours before you can't pay your 2,000 odd staff is a totally unacceptable and disgraceful situation. And this is one of the largest councils in Australia, David, and for the community and the employees to be put in this situation is disgraceful.
And there is a lot of background to this story, and Central Coast newspapers' journalists have published over a dozen articles in the last 10 days to provide you with vital information. Pick up a copy of today's paper or visit our website for the stories you won't read elsewhere. And in another major announcement this week, the Central Coast is set to receive a new economic development strategy in a major effort to bring new businesses and jobs to the region. Yes, the Greater Sydney Commission, the GSC, has been given the task by Premier Gladys Berejiklian to rev up the local economy. Here is CEO of the GSC, Jeff Roberts, speaking at the announcement.
The critical issue from our perspective will be to think about the Central Coast as a Central Coast-centric region. We're not going to be imposing what we learnt in Western Sydney and in Parramatta and in the Eastern City to the Central Coast. This is peculiarly Central Coast for Central Coast, and that's what we'll be doing at the Commission.
And some more good news. Central Coast jobs vacancies increased to 1,365 in September, an increase of 13% month over month and 14% year over year, according to statistics compiled by local data analytics firm SeaChange. This may be a reflection of the excellent work done by Scott Gould of Central Coast Council in particular, as well as Paula Martin from Business New South Wales, who organised the recent virtual jobs fair. Back to you, JC.
Thanks for that, David. Now, it has been a long, complicated saga, but the proposed oil and gas rigs off the Central Coast, Sydney and Newcastle, aka PEP 11, has hit a significant milestone this week, starting with Liberal member for Mackellar Jason Falinski tabling a motion in Parliament to end the exploration licence. All coastal MPs besides MP Lucy Wicks have spoken for the motion to cancel PEP 11. Now the decision is in the hands of Federal Minister for Resources and Water Keith Pitt and Deputy Premier of New South Wales John Barilaro. Minister Pitt said to the Newcastle Herald that he does support offshore gas exploration, whereas New South Wales Minister Barilaro says the New South Wales government does not support PEP 11. We will keep you updated as the story develops, but here is what Jason Falinski said about his motion when talking with Coast Community News out the front of the Parliament House on Monday.
I started looking into it. There was then some seismic testing done shortly thereafter, which produced no meaningful results. And it just seemed to me that it was unfair on all the communities in Central Coast down to Wentworth or down to the eastern suburbs of Sydney, that this exploration was going on when there was no clear intention for anyone to do anything about it. So from that point onwards, we've just been putting pressure on the relevant ministers to make a decision and not to renew the licence. They have to stand aloof, because if they don't, then the people who are seeking the renewal can say that they had apprehended bias. But our key in all of this is to get the outcome that these licences are not renewed and that the community can swim in their oceans knowing that they're free from exploration.
Some distressing news has come out this week for those living near Lake Macquarie, with the Out of the Ashes 2 report by the Hunter Community Environment Centre being released. We spoke to Environment Centre spokesperson Joe Lynch about the report.
The key findings of the report were that, well, firstly, there's extensive contamination at all of the water, of groundwater and surface water and sediment at all of these ash dumps. That was identified in government studies that were done at the time that power stations were sold from the state government to the current private operators. We also found that the publicly available water quality monitoring data that the power stations are required to do and publish as part of their environmental protection licence show numerous breaches of Australian water quality guidelines for species protection, and as well as recreational use, some breaches as well for irrigation and agricultural purposes, and drinking water guidelines were exceeded.
Onto some lighter news. International fashion designer Weave Dibbenneck has created a raft from recycled materials as a way of promoting her new fashion label, Yukio Co. We spoke to her at the raft's official launch.
So I started to collect the milk bottles from the cafe that I was living above, and that probably took about a month, I would say. I wasn't heavily grabbing them. It was just whenever they were being thrown out, discarded, and then they started to collect them when it became serious. And then whenever I'd see bamboo on the side of the road, I would collect it, and a lot of them had a lot of branches coming off them, so I was able to borrow a saw, and I had to saw all the sides off and create beautiful long slender pieces of bamboo. And so it really is completely organic in that sense that it's all from the side of the road. The idea of the raft has just been so exciting, that, you know, the idea of leaving something without having to ask anybody else for help, or, you know, just all those type of symbols, it's given me that freedom and idealism.
Let's move on to Hayley for this week's top sports stories.
Thanks, JC. The Terrigal Avoca Panthers have done it again, winning the Hunter Central Coast AFL Black Diamond Cup for the second year running. The Black Diamond Cup is the oldest and continuous sporting cup in Australia's sporting history, first awarded in 1888. The Panthers played The Panthers played on Adelaide Street Oval last Saturday against the Newcastle City Blues, with the Panthers coming out on top, winning the game 76-50. This win brings the Panthers' total first grade premierships up to 7, making them the second most decorated club in the Hunter Central Coast AFL competition history. And the Mariners have recently announced a key part of their 2020-21 A-League side on Wednesday with the addition of Oliver Bozanic. Oliver Bozanic left the Hearts at the conclusion of the shortened Scottish Premier League season. And with the new season starting soon, memberships are officially open this Monday. And in other football news, the mighty Barnstoneworth 45Ds are playing in their first grand final in the living memory against top-of-the-table Budgewoi FC tonight at 7:45 p.m. at Plume Park. The 45Ds competition is hard and very entertaining, so get along if you want some late Friday night entertainment. And now let's have a look at the weekend weather. It looks like it's going to be a rainy weekend with a cloudy Saturday and a high 80% chance of showers with a chance of a severe thunderstorm. There will be a max of 26 and winds will be northeasterly 15 to 20 kilometres an hour, tending northerly 20 to 30 kilometres before dawn and becoming light in the evening. Sunday will be another cloudy, rainy day with a very high 90% chance of showers. There will be a max of 19 and winds will be westerly 15 to 20 kilometres, turning southerly 25 to 40 kilometres during the morning. Back to you, JC.
Thanks, Hayley. All of these stories and thousands more are available on our news website. And remember to pick up a copy of this week's Coast Community News issue number 265 and Coast Community Chronicle 211. Be sure to subscribe to our social channels for updates during the week. We leave you today with exciting news for Gosford CBD, which is set to be host to a new university degree. The Central Coast Conservatorium of Music and the University of New England have formed a formal teaching partnership, allowing music students in the region to receive private music tuition locally while completing their music degree online. We were there at the launch to hear what music director Patrick Brennan had to say about the exciting partnership.
This partnership is going to be a wonderful thing for both our organisations. What it will enable is our teachers to teach at a tertiary level, which is something that has not happened in the 37 years that we've been in existence, Peter. So that's a real wonderful step forward. And also for Central Coast residents and community members, they can jump into a Bachelor of Music degree through the University of New England and study here whilst living in their community, which is a wonderful way forward.